let me ask you something. Did you do everything that you were supposed to do? You went to work, you paid your bills, maybe you went to college, maybe you learned a skill, maybe you built a career. Maybe you stayed at the same job for years because you were told stability mattered. You took care of your family, you paid into Social Security, maybe you contributed to a retirement plan. You tried to be responsible, right? You tried to do everything right. So, why, at this stage of your life, are you still worried about money? Why are you still looking at grocery prices? Why does an unexpected car repair suddenly make you nervous and sick on the stomach? Why are you looking at what you've saved for retirement and wondering whether it's actually going to be enough? And why are so many women reaching 50, 55, 60, and beyond thinking, wait a minute, I did everything they told me to do. How did I get here? Baby, that's the same question I had to ask myself too. And I spent years working, my entire life. I worked for a government agency. Obviously, I had a government career. And you know what? That we're taught about government jobs. We're taught that they provide security, they provide benefits, provide retirement. And if you stay long enough, you put in your years, and eventually, you're supposed to reach this magical place called retirement where everything somehow works out. Except I started realizing something. I didn't feel secure. I felt dependent. And there is a difference. My income depended basically it depended on somebody continuing to, employ me. My schedule depended on somebody telling me where I needed to be. My ability to take off depended on somebody approving my leave. And my future depended heavily on basically systems that I had no control over. That realization really, really bothered me because if I don't control the thing that's supposed to be providing my security, how secure am I really at the end of the day? And listen, I'm not telling anybody watching this to run into work tomorrow, throw your badge on somebody's desk and tell them Z told you to quit. Not at all. Don't put that on me. Please do not do that. That's not the message. The message is that I think we have to start asking ourselves, some different questions, especially those of us who are doing life on our own. We're in a solo season, right? Because if you're in that solo season, there may not be another paycheck coming into that household. There may not be a spouse's retirement that you can fall back on. There may not be somebody sitting across the kitchen table saying, don't worry about it. I've got this one, right? Sometimes you are your own backup plan. And when I really began to understand that, and when it really started resonating with me, um, my thinking about income really started to change because I had to stop asking only how much money, can I earn from a job? And I started asking, is there something that I can build? What can I build that will belong to me? That is a completely, different question, right? And because a job and an income producing asset aren't necessarily the same thing, with a traditional job, generally you give somebody your time, and for that time, they give you an exchange of money, right? That's kind of the energy, time for money. Stop giving them the time, and guess what? You stop getting the money. And I reached an age where, my time started becoming more valuable to me, especially when I started seeing friends and family pass away. Time became a much more relevant and present thing that, I had to address. And when I looked at that, I realized that trading my time for money was just a dead end because, yeah, I'll get some money and, I can pay bills and I can cover a mortgage and all of those good things, but I'm never going to get that time back. I'm never going to get those hours back that I sat, behind a desk pushing papers. I'm never getting that back. And I didn't want another plan that required me to give away another 40 or 50 hours a week. I didn't want that anymore. I'd already been there and done that. I wanted to know for myself whether there was something I could build for myself online. Could I really build online income? Something that could work for me from my home or from wherever I might choose to be in the world. Something that could travel with me, something that didn't require, me to get, another advanced degree, and something that could eventually, over time, become another stream of income without me having to spend, my entire day working on it. That's what sent me down this road to even begin with. Not because somebody convinced me there was some magic internet money tree, because there isn't. I had to learn, and I'm still learning. I learn every day. I had to get comfortable with being a little uncomfortable, right? I had to learn things I hadn't done before, and creating content, digital marketing, automation, funnels, all kinds of things that were absolutely new to me. But here's what I realized. I have learned new things my entire life. I'm someone who considers herself to be like a lifelong learner. I'm constantly learning every day. We all should be doing that until the day we leave here. There's always something new to encounter, a new experience, something new that we can learn. And every job I ever took required me to learn something new, right? You have to learn, how they do business. You have to learn their policies and procedures. You have to learn how they implement things. Every promotion required me to learn something new. Every new agency had different systems that I had to learn. Every new piece of software required some semblance of learning. So why suddenly, because I'm over 50, would I decide that I can't learn something that could potentially benefit me? No. We're not doing that. We're not thinking that way, and we're not doing that. And if you're watching me right now and thinking, Z, I wouldn't even know where to start. Well, guess what? Neither did I. That's the entire point. You don't have to know everything before you begin. You need to be willing to learn the first thing, then the next thing, and then the thing after that. And eventually you look behind you and you realize, wait a minute. Did I just build something? Yes, baby girl, you most certainly did. That's what I want more women to understand, especially women who are in their solo season. Maybe you did do everything right. Maybe the problem isn't that you failed. Maybe the world changed while we were busy following the old instructions, the old rules. And that being said, maybe what worked for our parents or even our grandparents isn't necessarily going to create the kind of financial freedom that we're searching for right now. So I'm not interested in beating myself up about yesterday. I'm interested in asking, okay, what can I do today that gives future Z more options? That is my question. That will always be the question. And I want you to ask yourself the same thing. What could you begin building today that your future you might thank you for? Maybe it's a digital product. Maybe it's learning digital marketing. Maybe it's building an audience. Maybe it's developing a skill you can offer remotely. Maybe it's, something completely different. Whatever it is, I want you to stop believing that the only way you can earn money is by exchanging a majority of your waking hours for a paycheck, because that is not the wave of the future. That's not going to be the way that people make money in the future. There are other models that you can look at. And that's what I'm exploring and building now, because I don't want my next chapter to be about, working until I'm too tired to enjoy the life that I've worked for, because that doesn't make any sense either, right? I want to enjoy it now. I don't know how many more years I have here. We're here today and could be gone tomorrow. That's one of the reasons why I moved to Panama. That's one of the reasons I wanted to build income for myself online. And that's one of the reasons I started sharing this journey with you, because I know I'm not the only woman asking these questions. I know I'm not. So if you're sitting there thinking, I did everything right, but somehow doing everything that I was told to do and being told that everything was going to be okay in today's economy and with what's going on in the world right now, I do not feel financially secure. And I want you to know something. That realization doesn't have to be the end of your story. It can be the beginning of a different one. And if you're curious about the online business model I'm learning and building, I want you to comment my truth below. I'm going to get you the Freedom Blueprint so you can look at the information for yourself and understand how the model works and decide whether it's something that you want to explore. There is absolutely no pressure. Please don't let fear of learning something new keep you dependent on something that you already, know isn't working, or something that already has you worried. We're too grown for that, honey. We're just, yeah, we're too grown for that right now. We've learned harder things than this in the past. And if you've made it this far in life, you already have proof, right? That you know how to figure things out. So start asking yourself, what can I build that belongs to me? That is the question. Okay. I want you to think about that. If again, you are interested, and if you know that you want something more and you're ready to take that next step, I want you to comment my truth below so I can get the Freedom Blueprint to you so that you can check it out, because it delineates everything for you step by step, everything it is that you need to do. And then you take it from there. But until next time, I want you all to take care of yourself. As I always say, HOAS. Ladies, please keep your head on a swivel, because there is madness going on in the world right now. And as always, I want you to keep speaking your truth. I love you guys so much. Take care, and until tomorrow. Bye-bye.